Right, so welcome back to another video on this channel, and Arsenal once again have laid down the gauntlet in their Premier League title challenge with Manchester City. Yes, Man United are not part of this title race, they never were in my opinion, and yeah, Arsenal have got themselves a absolutely monumental win in this Premier League title race. I mean, I can't underestimate how big it is. A 3-2 win over Manchester United. I think they very much deserved it. I think they were the better team overall in terms of the swing of things over 90 minutes, and they showed, a lot of title characteristics, and a lot of traits that, teams that do win titles tend to show, especially in the nitty-gritty of games like this in the course of the season. I think they showed a lot of fight, spirit, desire, leadership, grittiness to get through, the game. And I think that they massively deserve the win, and they are definitely going to start to believe now, if they weren't already, that they can win the Premier League this season over Man City, and that it is their destiny to win the Premier League title come May. And yeah, like I said, fully deserved. I think that in terms of how the game went, I think obviously going 1-0 down was a little bit of a shock to the system, and Rashford with a very good goal, absolutely brilliant nutmeg. I think it was on Thomas Partey, and an absolutely brilliant finish with unbelievable technique. Marcus Rashford has really stepped up for Man United this season. I don't know what Ten Hag's feeding him, but it's certainly working, and yeah, very good goal from him. And then at that moment I was thinking, okay, this response now for Arsenal will show a lot about, how much they want this league and how equipped they are to win this league title. And then about 5 minutes later, Eddie Nketiah scores. I think poor defending from United to leave Nketiah in the box alone, but I think Nketiah is just quite a good poacher, and I think he's very intelligent in terms of knowing where to be in the box when the ball is whipped in. And very good header from Nketiah, very good finish. And then Arsenal go 2-1 up, Bukayo Saka with a brilliant goal out of absolutely nothing really. I think Arsenal were, pushing, but so too were United, and Arsenal just happened to get that, that second goal before United did. And then Martinez goes and scores, where Ramsdale kind of flaps at it, but I think it's not really his fault solely, because Tomiyasu kind of bundles into him a little bit. Good header from Martinez, very good improvisation in that situation. And yeah, just like when United went 1-0 up, I think that was now a really, good test of where Arsenal were as a team and how equipped they were to win this league title. And to be honest, once Martinez scored, I think Arsenal absolutely suffocated Man United, and I think for the last 20-25 minutes of the game, or however long it was left after Martinez scored for United, they pinned Man United back into their own half. I think Gary Neville said that at one point they were playing 4-5-1 in their own penalty area. Arsenal had like 75-80% possession of the ball, and nearly all of it was in Man United's half. And yeah, definitely deserved their winner. They absolutely huffed and puffed to the very last end, and then Nketiah obviously got their goal. Little bit of stroke of fortune, but I think that they made their own luck, Arsenal, and they definitely deserved the winning goal, and really showed determination, because especially after Marcus Rashford scored to make it 1-0, you can see Odegaard, Gabriel, Xhaka, Saliba, all these players, lifting each other up and showing that this game is not over. There's still a lot more left in it, and I think that they definitely showed they have the capabilities to definitely win this Premier League title, and the right leadership and the right grittiness and determination to get themselves back into games where it did look bleak, and maybe they suffered a bit of misfortune early on in the game and at other periods of the game as well. And look, at the end of the day, you can argue, and I'm sure United fans will, that maybe it's a different game without Casemiro, and you know what, I can fully understand that, because a player of Casemiro's qualities, especially with his ability defensively, his awareness, his intelligence as a footballer off the ball, I definitely think that Arsenal's goals could have been preventable had Casemiro been on the pitch. I also think at the same time that I think Arsenal fans could argue that they didn't have Gabriel Jesus either, and I think that the perfect difference in that comparison is the fact that Arsenal have a capable understudy for Gabriel Jesus in Eddie Nketiah, who proved it today with 2 goals, obviously the winning goal as well. And Manchester United just do not have that with Casemiro. I mean, Scott McTominay, I think, had quite a poor game, to be honest. I mean, all he does is really run around the pitch. He's not capable in the ball whatsoever. He has nowhere near the defensive capabilities that Casemiro possesses, I think it's fair to say. And at the same time as well, I think that the absence of Casemiro in this game, and the reaction after Casemiro, was suspended for this game from United fans, shows exactly why they're not in the title race this season. I mean, I've said it, a number of times since United have hit good form, especially after the Manchester derby. I made a video on why Man United are not in the title race, if you want to go and check that out on the channel after this. And I think it just goes to show, because the reaction of United fans when Casemiro got suspended against Crystal Palace during the week was, we're f***ed basically, and you cannot say that about a team that's going to win the league. I mean, if a team's going to win the league, they can't rely on one player, and they rely on Casemiro so heavily, based on the fans' perspective. And yeah, United are not, equipped to win the league this season. I think that it showed that today with David De Gea, I think, who's, made a very good save, I think, from Nketiah in the second half, but I think his ability on the ball is nowhere near what Ten Hag wants long term. Wan-Bissaka, I don't think is good enough. I think he's probably the best one-on-one defender in the world of football, to be honest, but his ability in terms of, understanding of defending, and his ability on the ball especially as well, is very, very suspect. I think that their midfield without Casemiro is completely useless, to be honest. I think going forward, think Weghorst is a good striker overall in terms of his link-up play, but I think he's a little bit of a stopgap, and there's no way in hell he's going to be a starting striker for a Premier League winning team. I think the same thing with Anthony at this moment in time, even though I do believe he could develop into a player that could start for a Premier League winning team, but I don't think his output is quite there yet. And one thing I will say to, be a little more kind to United is obviously the fact that, Ten Hag is way earlier into his process than Mikel Arteta is with Arsenal, so I'm not going to write them off whatsoever to be, in a title race in the next 2 or 3 years, should they get the right players and should Ten Hag be backed in the right way. But anyway, yeah, back to Arsenal. They're on course now to hit 100 points. Of course, they've played exactly 19 games this season. We're exactly halfway through the season now, and yeah, they're on course to hit 100 points, which would just be absolutely unbelievable. Obviously, it won't happen more than likely, but stranger things have happened in football. And yeah, they've only dropped points on 3 different occasions this season. Of course, they lost to Manchester United. Their only defeat in the Premier League this season was against Manchester United, so I'm sure Arsenal fans will be very happy with the revenge today. So yeah, it's all rosy in the garden for Arsenal right now, and obviously they're playing some unbelievable football, and you just have to take your hat off to Mikel Arteta, to be honest, because especially after all the stick, all the abuse, all the hounding out he got from Arsenal fans, at the back end of, I think it was 2021 season, and at the start of 21-22 when they lost their first 3 games, to turn it around in the way he has is just absolutely extraordinary. He's done it in the right way. He's brought through youth players like Saka and Martinelli, etc., who are, performing, doing the goods right now for Arsenal. And yeah, he's developed a lot of those players into top quality performers right now. I mean, Odegaard's playing out of his skin. I think personally Thomas Partey, I think, is the best number 6 in the world of football right now. I just think he has absolutely everything. Saliba is a top quality defender. I think Arteta performed an absolute masterclass in timing his return to loan Saliba. There was a lot of rumours and, a lot of debate over whether he should have been loaned out last season, but I think that, that decision's been vindicated now. Zinchenko at left back, just an absolute warrior at left back, steps so well into midfield, such a composed footballer, such a leader as well, and obviously has Premier League winning experience with Man City. Xhaka, I think, has been, brought the best out of next to Thomas Partey. I think he's really unlocked Xhaka's qualities and Xhaka's leadership, to be honest, as well. Ben White, a centre back who's just performing absolutely out of his skin at right back, a quality footballer. Then you have Ramsdale in goal. His distribution of the ball for a goalkeeper is absolutely top notch. So I just think Arsenal have absolutely everything in terms of their starting 11 to, fight for this title and really go on and win this title. The only thing I have that's stopping me from really believing it's a shoe-in now for Arsenal is an injury to someone like Thomas Partey, who, maybe Sambi Lokonga or El Neni will be the understudy, which I think will probably, be the detriment of Arsenal long term if that happens, or someone like Saliba, where, Rob Holding or someone has to step into centre-back for a few games. I think that could really be the downfall of Arsenal this season, and that's the still reason why I do believe that City will just about catch Arsenal, just because of that risk of injuries. But like I said in the video before, Arsenal are really starting to worry me now as a Chelsea fan that they could win this league. They're really making me start to believe that they actually could win this Premier League title. They have a game in hand over City now. If they win that, I think it's against Everton at home, the gap will be 8 points, and the longer the season goes on where it is a gap like that, the more likely Arsenal are to win the league and the more confident they'll feel. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really interesting into the season for Arsenal and City. But to be honest, I think if Arsenal do somehow keep Partey and Saliba and all these players fit, and Odegaard as well, who I want to mention as well, is a massive player for them, and if he's injured they could be screwed as well. I think if Arsenal were to keep hold of all those players and somehow be blessed with injuries this season, I think it'll just be fate that they win the league this season, and I think that they could end up winning it by late April, early May, to be honest. But yeah, a game that really gave off proper Barclays vibes. I mean, what a game that was. And to be honest, most of the Big Six games this season have produced some very good action. I mean, there's, goals in pretty much all the Big Six games this season, which we just love to see from a neutral perspective. And yeah, 2 OGs of the Premier League, battling it out on the big stage. But yeah, Arsenal fans, Manchester United fans, and other fans as well, make sure you let me know in the comment section below what you thought of this. Will Arsenal win the Premier League? Will Manchester City pip them with Erling Haaland, on unbelievable goal scoring form? I can't believe how many goals he's got this season now, 25 in total now. And yeah, leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it. It'd be massively appreciated. And also if you could subscribe to the channel as well, that would also be hugely appreciated, because we're so close now to hitting 1,800 subscribers on this channel. And yeah, any subscription helps to get there as soon as possible. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. See ya.